should manhandle the Falcons.
They should.
I mean, just looking at how the Bears played the Falcons last week, the formula is there for what I consider a better defense than the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
To go out there and spank the Falcons.
Then the Falcons on the road are not a very good team.
Right, but it's intriguing from the aspect of there's too much talent on that Atlanta Falcons offense. You know what I mean? You're looking at it wondering, okay, is this the week? Is this the week? And it probably won't be.
Well,
but
there's talent in the passing game. In the rushing game, I guess there's talent too if they would just use it.
Yeah.
The game that the Falcons played against the Bears was the game that they should have won before going up against the Ravens. Now potentially they could be on would it be a 3-game losing streak because they lost to the Vikings?
Yeah, they're 2-3 going into this game.
So. Yeah. So I mean, to me, it's intriguing from that standpoint that they could drop further down in the division.
New Orleans at Detroit.
That I think
that's
is
an
a big
interesting game.
But that could be a lopsided blowout, not the way we're thinking. Detroit could win that game big. New Orleans is not the same team away from home.
But we all picked the Lions.
I know. We all think the Lions are going to blow them out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about blow them out, but I think the Lions can win that game at home.
Yeah.
Especially with that defense.
Which this would be a huge thing New Orleans, they're getting to that point now where they need to try to figure out an identity. If they lose this game, they'll be 2-4. And, I mean, mind you, they're not in the toughest division, but Carolina looks like they're going to be, they're going to put up a fight at least. So New Orleans, they really can't slide any further down than they already are.
How about that Theo Riddick doing his best Reggie Bush imitation or impersonation this past week?
Okay.
Talk about a player that's come on, and if you're the Lions and you kind of want to, let's not rush Reggie back, you could keep holding back for one more week.
Mm.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty amazing.
Well, there's always seems to be that. Wasn't that Joik Bell's role like a year ago?
Joik Bell's more of a runner. He's used more as a runner as opposed in the passing game like Reggie Bush.
I mean, like he made a name for himself when Bush got injured, didn't he?
Well, he did, but he still ran the ball more. Why they didn't use Theo Riddick last year as much, not sure. He could have been injured.
Yeah.
At least I don't remember why.
Mm.
All right.
I don't know.
Chiefs Chargers. Chiefs Chargers. Maybe. Intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, because the Chiefs are a little bit of an enigma this year, and San Diego, I felt was playing the best ball in the league. It'll be interesting.
And how about them Raiders? Those Raiders. I mean, Derek Carr. That was amazing.
They could have won that game. They very well could have won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely not
defense.
They're a better team than an 0-5. They definitely are. I think that they will definitely get a win before Jacksonville, but it really is amazing to watch that it just seems like they can't put that final step together.
Did either of you see Tony Sperano at the press conference?
No.
He had like these Oakley sunglasses on, silver frame, silver reflective lenses, and had his hat down, and he looks like he's lost weight since when he was with the Dolphins, and he had this total "I'm from Oakland" air about him, and it made me think. I think that's what happens to everybody that goes to play at Oakland. They get that air, that persona.
Did he have Ice Cube behind him with a NWA hat on?
I mean, he could have, and it would have worked. That's all I'm saying here, guys. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just thinking about whenever I think of the Raiders now, I think of Snoop Dogg, which makes me think of the league when Snoop Dogg was on it from a season ago.
Still the most underrated television show.
It's the good. Don't do that, Andre.
Don't do that, Andre.
Anyway, so yeah, a lot of interesting matchups. Houston at Pittsburgh. I got to tell you, that game right now is like trying to pick which puddle of vomit to lick. It really is, because Houston plays good defense. What can you say about J.J. Watt? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's amazing.
Can we ask a question about the Texans? If you're going to trade for Ryan Mallett, why wouldn't you give him a shot by now? Is the offense really that hard to pick up? Obviously, you traded for him for a reason. I don't know.
Maybe it was a backup. That's what you traded for. I don't know.
They had Tom Savage. I don't know.
Look, Here's the thing: as long as they're winning football games with Ryan Fitzpatrick, they're not going to bother the formula.
But they're not really.
Well, this is not. I guess at the end of the day, you look at the Texans and you go, they just want to make the playoffs this year. They just want to do the best they can to just buy themselves one more year. And you're hoping that in that one more year, things don't fall apart further. I mean, you've got Arian Foster, who's not getting any younger. Andre Johnson, who's not getting any younger. They've got some young, talented players on that team, but we're not really seeing much from them. Like they're tight ends. They've got some good tight ends, but they're not using them, which is strange because historically the Texans have been a tight end team.
It just makes the decision to ignore the quarterback position this past draft that much more mystifying to me because the window is closing very fast on that Texans team. The defense is
and then you got to wonder when J.J. Watt's contract comes up, if they haven't made the strides on offense, they're going to lose him the way they lost Mario Wang.
They just extended him, though.
But, I mean, when this current contract he's in is up, he's going to be in the prime of his career. I mean, he's still a young guy. He's going to be in the prime of his career. They need to figure out how to put a great team together because, honestly, I do think he's one of the best players in football. I mean, he is just such a phenomenal talent.
2 words.
Clearly.
Two words.
Clearly is.
Sam Bradford.
I don't know. I don't know. But I got to give a lot of credit. I was listening to a show this week, and Pat McAfee called in, who's the kicker of Indianapolis. And he is one of the most straightforward and honest players I've ever heard interviewed before. And they were asking him about J.J. Watt, and he said he is just the scariest individual he's ever seen on a football field. Just everywhere. Fast, strong, huge, just unbelievable. And I hate to see him languishing on this team because he really is holding that defense together. I mean, he is just a force.
Jadeveon Clowney should be back
this week. Is he due back this week?
Yeah, well, they're targeting it. My understanding is Clowney's going to have the final say on how he feels and whether or not he can play. But he is targeting this Week 7 game against the Steelers. You can find it all on the fantasygreek.com, actually. Under our game day inactives and injury updates.
Gee, I didn't see that coming.
Supposedly he is coming back, and if he does, they're going to be fearsome.
Yeah, I really hope he stays healthy. I mean, for all of the hoopla coming into the season, and he did live up to the hype, at least in preseason and some of the early games. I just hope he stays healthy. I would hate to see him become one of those just chronically injured players with all the talent in the world.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, there's one glaring weakness on that Texans team, and it's the quarterback position. So I don't understand why you made the move you did if you didn't think that the kid could play. Because you don't.
Maybe he likes beards.
Oh, boy.
I know, but Keith, who would they have gotten? Who would they have, whether it be a free agent, somebody they could have drafted? I mean, who could they bring in and say, oh, this person can lead our team?
Who, the Texans?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was expecting them to grab somebody in the draft with all the quarterbacks. Somebody, even if you take a flyer.
So pass on Clowney. We're back to that debate.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken Clowney. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have taken Clowney. You have a glaring need at the most important position on the field. Not that Clowney's not worthy of being a number 1 pick. The Texans had a glaring need somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you because right now, Clowney, obviously with the injuries he's had, he hasn't at least, as of right now, been on the field enough to say that it's been warranted for that draft pick when they could have definitely used, Bortles is showing a lot of signs of promise. Even Bridgewater, I know he had a rough game last game, but, he's shown some signs, and who knows how Manziel is going to be. But I think they definitely should have tried to shore up that quarterback position.
The Texans have not defended the run well on defense, if we're being honest here. But you don't draft Jadeveon Clowney to stop the run.
Well, here, what we could do is look at who's out there right now playing well, and who they could have drafted. And a name you have to throw at the top of the list is Derek Carr.
Yep.
Yeah.
He could have been their starter and just toss the ball around and think he would do just fine with DeAndre Hopkins and Andre Johnson and of course Arian Foster.
Yeah, even if you wanted to give the number one, take Clowney, then when they came back around, did they have a second pick in the first round?
They had the number one pick every single round, as far as I know.
They didn't have any extra picks, right?
As I recall.
Yeah, but then you come back in the second round, and they take
the Raiders took. I'd have to go back to my notes. There was something quirky about the Raiders' second round pick, which ended up being Carr.
Yeah, the Raiders took him 4 picks later, but with the second pick in the draft, the 33rd overall, the Texans took Xavier Su'a-Filo, the guard from UCLA. And they could have had Derek Carr. They could have, even if you wanted to take a shot at Manziel there, even though he's not the answer, short term either. Jimmy Garoppolo was taken in the second round by the New England Patriots. There were options there, and they totally ignored that position. So that's why I'm critical of them ignoring that position in the draft.
Well, I mean, it sort of begs the question, what did they see in Tom Savage? I mean, they must have thought he had some potential to become a starter at some point in the NFL because they actually spent a draft pick on him.
Yeah, the 4th round. If you thought he was a starter, why wouldn't you grab him earlier?
Well, no. I guess what I'm saying is, at some point they said, we're happy with that guy, and there could be a future for him with our team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that drafting a quarterback in the 4th round means you believe he could start his rookie season in the NFL. And the prudent thing is to let a player like that sit it out and learn from Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though I'm not sure that he's the best teaching quarterback out there in the league.
I mean, they drafted a tight end in the 3rd round, C.J. Fyodorovich.
Yeah, and he hasn't really done too much this season, which is just amazing.
So Tom Savage to me was an afterthought. Oh, there's still a quarterback left. Yeah, take him. What the hell? We don't have one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You look at like we've said, like you've already said, Arian Foster not getting younger, Andre Johnson not getting younger, already not happy being on that team. You know what I mean? So.
God, where's Claire when you need her?
I know. She doesn't listen.
Yeah.
She doesn't listen unless I tell her to.
Get her insight.
Wow. Speaking of that, Claire and Carlson tomorrow night, 10 p.m., late night sports radio.
And then
it's a great show.
It is a great show. And then Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, the Fantasy Greek starts and sits in 60 minutes.
All the fantasy football that you're
afraid to ask.
I don't know. Cajoles could joggle.
I have no
I'm just
idea
making
what
that up.
Word. That is
Kajoggle. That's the word of the day.
A completely made up word. All right, so you know what? Let's do some random stuff here. All right, let's look at the headlines. Let's just go cold right here.
How much time we got?
We got 3 minutes.
Cold cock me. Come on, bring it.
Yeah, actually.
Oh my God,
actually,
that sounded so dirty.
Yeah, it really did. We got a minute 40. I lied. So let me do this really quick. Let me throw out a headline here, and you guys debate it out, okay? Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer is prepared to cut into players' playing time if they're not performing on the field. Is it worth it, or is he better off just trying to figure out what he's got on that roster?
If he thinks it's right, he's the coach. He's got to do whatever he's got to do. I mean, mind you, his team has taken a massive hit this year with Adrian Peterson and all the loss that comes with losing just one of the best running backs in the league. So, honestly, at this point, what do they have to lose? Start shaking it up, figuring out how to fix it.
What's their record right now?
The Vikings?
Yeah.
1-5, right?
Yeah, they've only won one game, I think.
1-5. You know what?
1-4.
You can finish 11-5 and still make the playoffs, right? I mean, we could all agree to that. You could finish 10. You could finish 10-6 and still make the playoffs. He could finish 9-7 and maybe still make the playoffs. So, if that's what he feels this team can do, I would stick with his plan. I would do whatever it took, because if the Vikings could walk out of this season with a 9-7 record, that would be pretty impressive to me.
They're 2-4. They're only 2 games out of the
there we go.
Right
They're 2-4. That's even better.
Yeah.
You know, Teddy Bridgewater took a huge hit this past weekend up against the Lions, and it really shows how good the Lions defense is, because they did exactly what they were supposed to do against a rookie, which is just shut